next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be actually introducing you all to Pete, but I'm going to do it through a video. So before Pete comes on, let me just introduce you via the video, and then we will bring him on. So Pete, we have a lot today to actually look at and enjoy with you. However, just for now, could you just come on and just give us 2 or 3 sentences, because I've got more videos, of what you gained from looking back at the video, looking at your life, and listening to Sabina and Lisa and Herb just now.
It's beautiful that people can be open about and honest and transparent about their feelings. You know, if we could all do that more. So it's recognizing that we all go through stuff. We all have certain talents. So what we're doing in here, you know, is supporting and helping people in certain areas. But for me, more you peel off layers, new things come up. So I'm like 17 years in the raw food, and more deeper detoxes I do. It's just like you're experiencing as if it was just like your first experience of, you know, detox or trauma. So it's really good to have protocols. You know, I learned protocols clueless until 17 in these groups, and so it's really good to have some protocols. I mean, so what have I experienced and learned from everyone here? It's the openness and the compassion and the love, and recognizing, you know, that is where is a great place to get back to. Also keeping our healthy boundaries, you know, in terms of a lot of us tend to be unaware of that, especially from my childhood. And so I had to relearn that. I had to learn to be selfish. I was just very giving. I still am, but however, a little bit more objective, as well as, so, and not letting it, I'm going to say not letting it scar me, but it's basically, that's an opportunity for me to look at debris that has not been cleared. So beautiful opportunities, you know, so I see people here aspiring to share how everything is an opportunity. And if we do reiterate everything's perfect and everything's an opportunity, you know, we really got to aspire to walk our talk, you know. I mean, I can leave it there. Yeah.
Dorit, you're on mute.
Thank you, Lisa. So I think we need to differentiate between being selfish and self-care. They're not the same. I actually don't think that the opposite of not caring for oneself and just draining ourselves all the time, I don't think the opposite is being selfish. I think it's absolutely the opposite. You draw yourself back, you pull yourself back, you actually go to the space of harmony within you, and you start practicing self-care. So thanks for bringing that up, Pete. And I want to immediately go into actually what you've been doing. And I know that with some of this, Sabina is going to be very delighted. I would like to remind all of you that none of this is cooked. Not anything there is cooked. This is actually the incredible alchemy of Pete and Hannah that you're watching. And they're in September, they have a big event coming up, which we're going to have a look at. But do you want, in just 2 or 3 sentences only, please, Pete, just tell us about the event coming up in September? And mute you.
Yes, we're doing so it's basing from what we've been doing over 17 years. So we're going to have 2 saunas. So the idea is self-care, self-love, nurture. We'll have 2 saunas, an ice bath, a hot tub, and the food workshops, yoga, jinshin, jiu-jitsu, and talks, different people coming in. We've got this lovely Iman Roots Reggae DJ, and we've got some other exciting bands coming up. Try not to sway too much into that, which is, about the health and wealth. And as you are, or we are, aspiring to be, let's just say, express here, a lot of that will be happening. There'll be craft things happening too.
So food can be transformative and can bring us into a place of transformation, which is what we're doing this. And this is, you've actually shown by the work that you've been doing, how you've transformed too, and also the alchemy that is needed to make something that's alive look just like cooked food, because so many people have not had a dietary transformation or long for it, but do not wish to give up what looked familiar to them. And you make the familiar actually looks enchantingly similar. So I'm going to just put up the information now about the event coming up in September, and then we're going to be speaking about all the different ways in which we transform our lives, and one of them, of course, is by going to events like this. So, can you write for us, please, Pete, on the comment section where people can find you for the festival that you have coming up in September? And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and speak about how food can be transformative. So, for example, this is some of the breads. Yes, Sabina. This is some of the breads, I know you love this, that they make, the living breads that they make, and that people will be able to enjoy the festival. So people say, oh, how can you live without bread? Well, I'm going to show you a video too later on, if we have time, of how they answer that question. But you see, you don't have to give up anything if you wish to stop eating foods that are overly cooked and eat food that are alive with the enzymes intact. And the colors, all the colors, not just of the rainbow, but all the intense colors of harmony, the harmonious living that is possible when we start following the laws of nature. These are their burgers. So for people who love burgers and say, oh, I cannot give up my burgers, I challenge you to try one of these and see what you think afterwards, but most importantly, how you feel afterwards. Do you feel bloated and tired and exhausted and full? Or do you feel light and airy and just full of joy and easy to move and very mobile? So this are there sandwiches? Yes, you can have a living foods diet with sandwiches as well. And these are some of the sandwiches that they have. And now here comes the pastries. And this is what bring most people to a living foods diet are the desserts and the pastries. And as you can see, Pete and his partner Hannah, they have quite a huge amount of choices that they make. And this is the food that they make that's really food art. Because when you're using nature and you go to nature and you borrow from nature, it's already art. But then if you put your own self to it and your own sense of artistry to it, it becomes what I call double art. So there are many ways in which we can transform our lives. So I'm going to go into Sabina because I know some of these things she really liked. When you look at photographs like this, and Sabina, you just came back from Europe, you might want to make another trip to go to Glastonbury in September for this. It's not unmuting, is it? You're trying like your best and it's not unmuting. I'll see if I can unmute you. And I'm not able to either. No, it's still not unmuting, Sabina.
Is it working now? Okay,
Yes.
finally. Wow, Pete, I tell you, your food it's truly it is art, but I felt like I wanted to try everything. And it looks so delicious and so inviting. And just to add in, I did have some bread in Germany. I couldn't resist going to a bakery. And I did enjoy the bread. However, I got constipated. I just noticed it's not the same. My digest is not the same as here. So I had to stop, but I did indulge a little bit also in Italy in some bread. So when I see your bread, Pete, can you send this to the US? Would that be possible? I would love to have your bread. So otherwise I have to come to England at some point, but I just came back from Europe, so I'm not planning to go back, but I would love everything about your food. It's like, yeah, I would call it like art in a museum. It's beautiful, it's colorful, it just draws you in. So thank you for creating such beauty, because we need more beauty in this world. And it starts with the food, because what most people eat is brown and beige and not very inviting. So thank you for all you do, Pete, for making such a difference in this world. You are so needed.
I agree very much. Lisa, how do you feel when you see this? What do you think?
I was so hungry. I was like, and I think it just really shows you that, a lot of times I think people think I'm going to limit myself when I transition into a diet like that. And I think it just really expands the idea of what's possible. And I can imagine the food is super energizing and healing. And I just, it's gorgeous, beautiful. I wish it made me want to go right there and heal with you and jump in that cold plunge and do some saunas. It's just beautiful. Wow. All of that. What a gift. What a gift, Pete, to take what you've learned and to share it with others and invite them to heal with you. I think that's just amazing.
And so everybody can. They're doing this in Glastonbury in September. What's the date in September, please?
It's the 11th to the 14th. So yes, I mean, come along, because it'll be very nurturing and lots of sharing going on. It'll be amazing and beautiful food.
Maybe we can even do a show from there.
And I was just going to, that'd be great. And I was just going to say also, over the years, we've really incorporated like herbs from the garden in the crust, sea moss, and whether it's dandelion root, burdock root. So it's all going in the what you see. So it's not just heavy foods. We tend to use avocado as opposed to cashews. In the first 7 years, I was heavy cashews, heavy dates, heavy cacao for 11 years. But anyway, so it's more carob now, and we're really, really doing alchemy in the crackers, in the carob chocolates, and in the crusts, in the fillings, in the pastries, all, you know, beautiful herbs, dried herbs from the garden are going in and stuff like that.
Well, I am thrilled that you're using carob instead of chocolate and cacao. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you very much for that. And for people, you know, who have never eaten and tried this lifestyle herb, how would you explain this to them if they say, I'm not sure I want to go to that. It does look familiar, though, a lot of that stuff. Maybe I ought to, or maybe I won't like it. What would you say to them?
You got to try it, because you're missing out. You know, you're missing out. And you know what Pete's created and Hannah have created, like, you can see it just oozing with love and creativity. You know, it's not just creating something beautiful. So much thought and love has gone into it. How the ingredients are sourced, how they're sourced. You know, Pete's been on this lifestyle for like 18 years now. He knows, you know, he's made mistakes. He knows what works and what doesn't work, and all his experience, all that he's learned, he's sharing with others. And I see, you know, Pete and Hannah doing a beautiful thing. I see them as like a flagship for, especially in this country where we are in the United Kingdom. There's nothing else like it. It's a great model, you know, and to inspire many others to try this. And if you get an opportunity to come along to one of these festivals, you really got to come along. Because the last festival I come along, that I was involved with Pete and Hannah preparing this food, you know, I learned so much anyway by being there, creating some of the food and sharing with others. All what was served up, the plates were coming back empty, and people wanted more. The same people coming back time and time over and over again. It was just amazing. And everyone was commenting how amazing that they felt just eating this raw food. And people were curious at some of the creations that they never heard of before. They'd never seen anything. When you tell them the ingredients, like, oh, okay, I'll try that. And their faces would just light up. So it's beautiful. And yeah, just how we eat, most of us eat, it's really holding us back in life. You know, you really got to give it a go and feel the difference.
So transformation by changing our diet is actually the easiest form of transformation, in my opinion. Now, you helped out at one of these festivals with Pete and Hannah. Did you also, because you are a professional cyclist, did you get on that bicycle to actually power that blender?
I had a little go, yeah. A little go on that, yeah. That was fun.
I think every bicyclist should have a blender attached to their bicycles. So by the end of a race,
yeah, that'd be amazing. I think about powering my house up with it, the electric, you know, get on the bike and just work something, you know, put that energy to good use, you know. But yeah, it's a great way with the blender. It's brilliant.
You'll have to bring your bike down next time.
Yeah.
I'll bring my welder and my tools and a blender.
So what I'm going to show now, Pete, I want you to speak about ice baths. And because you're going to have ice baths at the festival as well. So
we will have one there. You know, anyone can do it. So I was amazed when a friend of mine 7 years ago, I think Darius, he was saying, "Oh, Pete, you can get these, make them DIY because they're expensive." So, and he sent me the clip, and from a basic freezer, you know, there's a method you can use that. So I was doing saunas and showers, cold showers, up to about, let's say 10 years, and then came across the Wim Hof and other methods, and then started doing the ice bath, and it was just off the charts in comparison. You know, in terms of what I have experienced with other people, when we mentioned food, massively, I treated food as if it was just like I was doing yoga. I didn't eventually have to think about it. And by the way, you know, over the last 5 years, the creations have, you know, become more art because of Hannah's input, and with like 2 kids in the kitchen. So the ice bath, I had to kind of give warnings, like with the food sometimes, because people can take it for granted. And I've had people do many protocols through their life, people teaching certain protocols, and just stunned and shocked of what they was witnessing coming up, because I work with my dream state fairly well and aspire to stay more in the 2 realms. you know, it's amazing. You actually getting to see many things, and eventually, with a group I had over for about 4 months, chose to join me 6 a.m. every rising. This is from Crops Not Shops, and amazing. They're doing amazing work. Eventually, I had to realize, wow, your day's going to change. And they're like, what do you mean? Well, you know, if you start getting into, let's say, stories or problems with the close ones or whatever, it's just, so I have to aspire to show them that stuff's going to come up. And also, we're on a strong ley line here. So everything's amplified, and we could get caught up in the problems, and this place does this and separates relationships, but it just amplifies. So it gives us the opportunity to really look at our stuff. The big problem I find, we just don't have the tools. You know, I was clueless till 17, and then bumbling through life with the tools I had then. And then, you know, to where I am now. And the reason why I only really shifted was because I had a safe wake up at 43 and literally shown my gravestone, you know, in my dream state, like a Christmas Carol scenario, of, like with Scrooge. I wasn't tight, but that kind of scenario. So I do reiterate that too, because, you know, people can project their egos and why are you doing it, and all things like that, to express as well. I've been, say, 16 years doing this at festivals, and it's subtly sharing an embodiment that I was fast tracking into back then, and then a kind of a cosmic kick out the door. You know, the old Pete, I don't want to be doing that, you know. So it was more just, you could say, you can only serve two masters. So it's like this new master was coming in, kicking the old one out. So, and I was nurturing a child, actually. I really recognized we could call it a spirit coming in, but I had this image of a child in me over the first few years, and it'd peep out every so often. Because you can imagine, I mean, there is a, what's that movie? I won't, maybe, anyway, won't say that movie, but it was seeing if the child could truly trust me. Now, if I look back on my life, or many people in their life, we've been crippling ourselves, crippling our child, you know. So I'm going to use that analogy, and it wasn't even using the analogy. That was what I was witnessing. So I had to really prove myself, to be honest, and even when I'm doing the foods, it's like I was guided by that child. And it's just like, literally, my children now grown up, and we got a new one. So it's like they'll let you know if they like it or not, you know. So I had to work with the colors and the flavors, and to satisfy my own child, which, you know, I'm not separate from. However, a lot of us are separate from many archetypes and many aspects of ourselves. So it really come in strong. So my child's with me now, you know, my child's with me. Many aspects of me is with me. So that was a big one, nurturing this child that has been unnurtured since the age of about 3, you know, 2, 3, because of, you know, many different traumas. And you can get through them. You know, I'm so happy to be alive. Some people are in life here, you know, and, you know, more in this world, you know, let's just say a part of this world. So it's this has been amazing protocol. And then sometimes people don't realize we can do all these other protocols, and then we eat something that's detrimental. And, you know, I can eat more heavier foods, and it's not detrimental to give myself a hard time, but I noticed the difference. And that's my journey, because I don't even have to say, I would have been gone within 3 or 4 months, youngest of 6, witnessed others, and really got to become aware of the dynamics of the food and trauma and habitual patterns we pass down and that we are in. And this was so alien to me. So I've come from so alien, you know, didn't even go to the beach before didn't even see the sea before I was 9 and things like that. So it's been a beautiful experience. I'm going to say I chose. And what a playground. And then experiencing so many people at festivals, you know, people will challenge this, challenge that, and I'd go and research. And so I learned quite a lot, you know, as well as people ask me, I'll share. Other than that, I won't judge. You know, I would go with my youngest daughter, who's 22 now. She loves seeing her nieces and cousins, and we'd go to McDonald's because my other sister, they had a play area. But there I'd be with my royal lasagna, and then they would wonder what that is, try it, and it's like, wow, it's quite nice. So I would just subtly do things like that, really, as opposed to I'm not going there. So I could sit in them spaces in terms of revisiting my old home, whether, you know, born in Croydon. I mean, it's changed a lot. So it's an inner journey. Have I put them things or integrated them aspects of potential shock and traumas, all the association? I mean, it's amazing with Sabina and her father, how beautiful that she could come to that point. And so, yeah, I could go back there. However, it's beautiful to go back and get to a place where you can choose. You know, if you were brought up in a war zone, why would you want to keep going back to the war zone? Some people may choose that and be very conscious of why they are choosing that. But to me, it's having a conscious, lovesious, being able to see why, having a more of a deep awareness and a love viction, I'm going to call it, rather than the con word. So the food has been amazing. The food has been amazing. It's been a catalyst. And I realized as I was being guided, it is to kind of pull people in. But I won myself first. It's like, you know, I can't do anything for anyone else apart from heal myself, and they cannot do anything from me apart from heal themselves. So once I would say I've healed lots of myself, then that's coming out as well as in our food and in the way we express and by example. We've all got things to learn. It's just like, no, we'll all have the potential. It's not like I'm any better. It's just we all have different experiences here to share and realize we're all part of a jigsaw puzzle, as opposed to getting up on our pedestal or whatever it may be, you know. So I learned so much from Zola, who's a conduit, and it's you know, so it's beautiful to be alive. I remember, just quick one story. I remember someone sort of say my eldest son wasn't really planned, and oh wow, that wasn't planned. And, you know, I mean, I'm going to say my sons, I can say, are really pleased to be alive. So just having all these kind of cliches and these sentences, I'm not saying we have to be careful, and they're spelled. So it's just like the more we clear ourselves, we tend to not be caught up in these words and language, which can be very used in a detrimental way, and we don't even realize with real eyes. So I can go on and on. So the food has been an amazing catalyst. Why I chose that journey, because my daughter who's 22 now, 5, and my sons were about 17, 18. It wasn't pining I didn't want to go, but I want to be around for them. And the biggest experience for me in relation to, you know, 17, I did get some tools. We lost a child, 19, our first child, when I was 19. So that was a massive experience for me, and got me to really appreciate children. Because can you imagine going up to the 9 months and all the rooms ready and everything like that? So, and then 7, 8 years, we did separate, but I lost my sister around that time. Now that's my first real experience of death. And she would be coming in my dreams and everything, meaning showing me that everything is fine. She would really reiterate a whole different perspective to death, to the point that I had to hold it down with other people. So my inner core of death isn't as everyone else is, not saying everyone. So I've had that from an early age. And it's how do you articulate that and edit that when you're telling other people who have lost, say, a member. To me, we never lose. We never lose a member, you know. They are always here. If we can get really more here, we are plugging into a lot of the radio waves when we choose to. Anyway.
Absolutely. Yes. And thank you so much for that. This is a lot of information to show people just how much we can transform anything and everything in our lives and come out on the other end, actually, and use those experiences as these are tools. These are vessels for us to grow and to learn and to expand and to create for ourselves a life where we're not a victim, but the opposite. This can be the catalyst. These things that we dislike so much, the experiences we don't want to be in, the catalyst for tremendous growth and empowerment. And